Good evening. And what we witnessed in today's Kristi Noem hearing was not just a tense exchange, it was a revealing moment about how immigration law is being interpreted and in some cases ignored at the highest levels of government. If you care about what is actually legal versus what is politically convenient, you are going to want to stay with us and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our continued coverage of these hearings.
For 5 minutes.
Secretary Noem, let's talk about the law. Do you agree that asylum is a lawful pathway to immigrate to this country? Yes or no?
There's an asylum program, yes, in place.
All right. So immigrants then with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country, correct?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your question was?
Immigrants with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country.
There are individuals in this country that have applications that...
And they are legally here because it's a lawful pathway, right?
It's a lawful pathway.
Okay, so if your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question. If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Is that correct?
It was greatly violated when they allowed
I'm asking you.
people to come
I'm
in and
asking
granted
you.
Asylum applications.
Why are you filibustering? Why can't you answer the question? It's a simple question.
Your president,
if your department
your secretary
deports
did not follow
anyone
the law,
with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
The asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that, yes, if you follow a lawful pathway, asylum is a lawful pathway, if you have an open asylum case, you are here lawfully. But the problem that we are seeing around the country is that you are not following the law. Don't tell us to change the law. If you don't like the asylum system, you change the asylum law. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. I think it needs to be changed. But you can't just decide that you're not going to follow the law, and asylum is a law, and deport people who have ongoing applications. Unfortunately, that is exactly what's happening. It's happening across the street from my office right in New York City. Numerous, thousands of people who have come to court appearances, have left them with open asylum applications, have been arrested. And then they've been shipped off and many deported. In September, one applicant was ripped away from his wife and small children after such a court appearance. And then this happened to his wife. Please play the video. No, it's not. It's not this one. All right, it's not this video. Here it is.
I'm yours. Come on, man.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. 3 days later, you reinstated that officer and you put him back on duty. I sent you a letter and asked you what investigation was done and why was he reinstated. You did not answer that letter. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is
well, I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because generally speaking, you do not respond to us.
Hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are seeing all over the country is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are identified.
And I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. And we now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case because last month in New York City again, the NYPD officers were injured by your masked, plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sir, our individual
Gentleman's
officers
time
are
is
identified.
time has expired.
I yield
I
back.
recognize gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gonzalez, 5 minutes.
At the center of this exchange was a simple yes or no question, one that should not be complicated for any Secretary of Homeland Security. Is asylum a lawful pathway to immigrate to the United States? The answer, under U.S. law, is yes. Asylum is written directly into federal statute. It allows people who fear persecution to apply to remain in the country while their case is reviewed. That process can take years, but during that time, applicants are considered lawfully present. The law is very clear on this point, and that is why the questioning lawmaker pressed again and again. If someone has an active, ongoing asylum application, they are legally allowed to be in the United States while that case is pending. Deporting them before that process concludes would violate the law. That is not a partisan opinion. That is how asylum law has functioned for decades. If this kind of legal breakdown matters to you, take a moment to subscribe so you can keep getting clear explanations like this. What made this moment striking was not just the question, but the refusal to answer it directly. Instead of responding with a straightforward confirmation, Secretary Noem repeatedly pivoted to criticisms of the Biden administration and claims that the asylum system is broken. That may be a political argument, but it does not change what the law currently says. In a hearing about legal authority, avoiding the legal answer is itself telling. This is where the issue becomes bigger than one hearing room. In the United States, the executive branch does not get to decide which laws it feels like enforcing. If the asylum system is flawed, Congress has the authority to change it. That is how the system is designed to work. What the lawmaker emphasized, and what viewers should understand, is that dissatisfaction with the law does not grant permission to violate it. The exchange also revealed a deeper concern. According to lawmakers and advocates, deportations of people with pending asylum cases are not hypothetical. They are already happening in cities like New York, sometimes just blocks from congressional offices. These are people who followed the rules, filed paperwork, attended hearings, and trusted the system, only to be detained or removed anyway. If you want continued reporting that centers the human impact of these policies, don't forget to subscribe. What often gets lost in political debates is the human cost. Asylum seekers are not just case numbers. They are families, parents, workers, and children living in legal limbo, often for years. When the law is selectively enforced or ignored, it creates fear and instability, even for people who did everything the government asked them to do. This hearing matters because it puts that contradiction on the record. On one hand, officials acknowledge that asylum is a lawful pathway. On the other hand, they refuse to clearly state that deporting people with active cases would be illegal. That gap between acknowledgement and accountability is where real harm occurs. As this debate continues, the key takeaway for viewers is this: the law has not changed. Asylum is still legal. Pending asylum cases still grant lawful presence. If officials want a different system, Congress must rewrite the law. Until then, enforcement agencies are bound to follow it, whether they like it or not. We will continue to track these hearings, the legal challenges that follow, and the real-world consequences for immigrant communities across the country. Make sure you subscribe so you stay informed, not just on what was said, but on what it actually means. Thanks for watching, and stay with us.